Starting off at D tier, we have
Missile
Jet.
bombardment on its way.
Honestly, Jet is practically unusable in today's ranked scene. Even though he has slightly more value in SF, his kit is still underwhelming overall. His secondary skill is almost unnoticeable, and his abilities don't really translate into impactful plays. The only place Jet sees any real use is in Zombie Royale, which isn't even available in the game right now. That makes him one of the least viable strikers for both solo and team play in current ranked matches. C-tier strikers are somewhat usable, but they fall behind when it comes to high-level play. They can work in the right hands or certain situations, but they aren't consistent carry options like A or S-tier picks. Blast. Blast has a kit that's perfect for rushing and aggressive plays. But his kit falls short against high-level players who have good map knowledge and can predict rotations. He's not bad, but there are better options for aggressive strikers if you want reliable impact in ranked. Lucian. On paper, Lucian is honestly a solid striker. The problem is the pace of Bloodstrike. The game moves so fast that his skill often feels obsolete. That said, if you know how to play him, he can turn into a beast. He just requires more precision and planning than most strikers in this tier.
Manifest yourself.
Ran falls short because her kit feels really basic. She's good for blocking bullets when caught in the open, but that alone doesn't make up for her lack of utility or impactful tools. She struggles to stand out in competitive play.
Time to leap.
Jack is my personal favorite, but even I have to admit he's firmly in C tier. Since his nerf a few months back, his kit hasn't seen any noticeable improvements. He's versatile and good for escaping, but he doesn't excel at healing, rotating, or aggressive plays. He's stuck in the middle, solid, but nothing exceptional.
Vortex
Kraken.
blast engaged.
On the higher end of C tier, Kraken is a great solo striker. His kit shines best when you use his ultimate properly, which can be absolutely busted in the right hands. He has amazing solo potential, but against highly skilled players who know how to counter him, he starts to fall off. On to B tier. These strikers are pretty balanced when it comes to their pros and cons. They're not overpowered, but they're definitely not weak either. In the right hands, they can perform at a high level. They just aren't as consistently dominant as the higher tiers. First striker in the B tier is Nacho. Nacho is a pretty versatile striker who's able to play defensively or aggressively depending on the situation. And that flexibility is what makes him solid. You're not locked into one play style with him. If your team needs someone to hold space, he can do that. If you need to apply pressure and take fights, he can step into that role too. The only downside is how easily players can work around his skill in open areas. In wide spaces with lots of movement options, experienced players won't panic. He's strong situationally, but not always dominant. That's why he lands in B tier.
Assassination state.
Spike is more of a solo striker, which automatically makes him strong for players who solo queue. He doesn't rely heavily on team coordination to get value, and that alone puts him in a solid spot for ranked. His primary skill, Illusion, works extremely well when you're trying to escape from players who love to overcommit and chase kills in ranked matches. A lot of players in ranked get tunnel vision. They see low HP and they push without thinking. That's where Spike thrives. In higher ranks, where players rely on quick reactions, even 1 second of hesitation can completely flip a fight. Spike creates that hesitation. He gives you the ability to reset bad engagements. If your teammates get knocked early, Spike still has the tools to disengage, heal, and pick smarter fights instead of being forced into a losing situation. Spike's downside, he's very self-focused. He doesn't bring huge team utility compared to some of the others on this list. So in coordinated squads, his value can feel lower than more team-oriented picks. But in solo queue, Where consistency and self-survival matter more than perfect team plays, Spike is extremely reliable. Up next, we have
Defensive
Hank.
turret activated.
Hank is one of the best striker for SF ranked and close quarters combat. When fights get tight, chaotic, and fast, that's where Hank shines the most. In small zones, buildings, and those messy third-party situations. He's extremely hard to deal with. His kit thrives in confined spaces where enemies don't have much room to reposition. He's especially strong in hectic situations. Hank doesn't need perfect conditions to be effective. He performs best when things get messy. That's where he can overwhelm players before they even have time to react properly. But here's the problem. Against skilled, patient players, Hank starts to fall short. High-ranked players won't just run into his effective range. They'll space him out. They'll hold angles. They'll force mid-range fights where he doesn't feel nearly as threatening. And once you remove that close quarters advantage, his impact drops significantly. He's very matchup dependent. If the zone pulls into tight areas, Hank feels amazing. If the fight stays mid to long range, he struggles to apply that same pressure. That's why he doesn't break into A tier. On to A tier. These strikers are pretty much always a viable choice. They have strong kits, consistent impact, and can perform well across most maps and situations. If you're climbing ranked, picking any of these strikers will rarely feel like a bad decision.
Prey
Kanda.
ensnared.
Kanda is a very aggressive recon striker, and that's what makes her interesting. She blends information with pressure. Most recon strikers sit back and gather intel safely. Kanda doesn't. She uses information to push fights. She's especially strong when your team plays confidently. She's great for creating opportunities in fast-paced ranked lobbies. That kind of tempo can decide entire games. EMT. Since her buff, she's become one of the best support strikers in both BR and SF ranked. And the reason is simple: consistency. Her kit provides quick health recovery, which might not sound flashy, but in ranked, the ability to reset fights faster than your opponents gives your team a massive tempo advantage. Instead of backing off to heal, you're right back in the fight applying pressure. She works best in coordinated squads where players communicate. EMT isn't the type of striker you just pick and run around solo expecting huge impact. Her value increases the more structured your team is. When players are calling out damage, rotating together, and playing off each other's positioning, that's when she becomes extremely powerful. Ethan.
Protection barrier up and running.
Although Ethan has one of the more basic kits in the game, he's still one of the best strikers to use when you have great aim. And that's really what it comes down to. Ethan doesn't rely on flashy abilities, complex setups, or heavy team coordination. His strength is simple. He enhances what you already bring to the table. If your mechanics are sharp and your tracking is clean, Ethan rewards that immediately. Volt. Volt is a great striker for taking on multiple enemies at once. He thrives in chaotic situations and excels at punishing passive or overly cautious players. If someone tries to hide or stall, Volt forces engagements and keeps the fight constantly on his terms. He's a great option for solo queuing.
Scanning progress.
Val is a team-centered recon legend who brings incredible value to any squad. She's not about flashy kills or solo clutches. Her strength lies in information. She's great for gathering intel on your surroundings, spotting rotations, and calling out enemy positions so your team can make smarter plays. A single well-timed scan from Val can set up ambushes, prevent third-party surprises, or allow your squad to take fights on your terms. Her value is also increased in coordinated teams where players communicate, when everyone is playing off her scans. Even if she isn't getting kills herself, her presence alone can swing rounds in your favor. S-tier strikers excel in almost every situation. They have high impact, versatility, and consistency that make them a threat in any lobby. Whether you're solo queuing or running a coordinated squad, these strikers give you the tools to control fights, punish mistakes, and make plays that few others can match. First up in the S tier, we have Katya.
Underlay, disperse.
Katya is one of those strikers who rewards aggressive players, but also gives you the tools to escape when things go south. Her versatility is insane. She can pressure opponents, create openings, and disengage safely, all within the same fight. One of her standout tools is her wall climb ability. This isn't just a mobility trick. It completely changes how you approach maps. She can take unexpected angles, rotate over obstacles, and gain high ground advantages that most opponents won't anticipate. In Ranked, that kind of vertical mobility turns every engagement into a mind game. Katya excels in aggressive playstyles because she can force fights on her terms. But if you overextend or find yourself outnumbered, she's also built to reset. That makes her extremely hard to punish, making her a reliable choice in almost every scenario. Zero. Zero is another aggressive striker. And while he isn't as versatile as Katya in terms of kit options, he more than earns his S-tier spot thanks to one key factor: mobility and positioning. What makes Zero deadly is how quickly you can change positions mid-fight. His kit allows for fast rotations, giving you the ability to disengage, re-engage, or completely flank the enemy in seconds. In ranked matches, that speed and unpredictability can turn the tide of any fight. Zero thrives when you're forcing fights and controlling the tempo. Even if the enemy thinks they have the upper hand, a well-timed reposition can catch them off guard and swing the fight in your favor. His kit doesn't just let you move, it lets you dictate the fight.
Luna, you
Another
got
striker
this.
who clearly deserves S tier is Emma. She's by far the best healer in the game. But her kit isn't just about keeping teammates alive. It lets her play both as a support and as an aggressive threat. What sets Emma apart is her ability to apply pressure while passively regaining health. This means she can push fights without constantly worrying about backing off to heal. Her kit naturally encourages aggressive plays. You can initiate fights, trade damage with opponents, and still come out on top thanks to her self-healing. At the same time, she can support her team. She's the ultimate S-tier striker for players who want both utility and the ability to dominate fights.
Gas
Nova.
them.
Nova is the ultimate striker for solo play. She can take on multiple players with ease thanks to her gas grenade. She's also a master of map control and area denial. Nova can push enemies out of positions, block rotations, and control key zones, forcing opponents to fight on her terms. That makes her an absolute nightmare for teams trying to hold high ground. What really sets Nova apart is her independence. She doesn't rely on teammates to create opportunities. She can generate pressure, clutch fights, and manipulate engagements all on her own. That self-sufficiency is why she's often considered the go-to choice for solo queue players who want maximum impact. And that's the full striker ranking. Who would you rank differently? Drop your opinions in the comments. And if you're having trouble deciding on your main, make sure to check out the video on screen. It breaks down the best strikers for your playstyle and helps you figure out which one fits you perfectly.